Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much. Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Ricky Camilleri. Her debut, Sometimes I Sit and Think and Sometimes I Just Sit, was easily one of the best albums of 2016. And after taking a little time off, recording an album with Kurt Vile, Courtney Barnett is back with a second, possibly even better record. Tell me how you really feel. Let's take a look at the video for City Looks Pretty and then bring her out. everybody, Courtney Barnett. Hey.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going well.
Thanks so much for being here. Congratulations on the album. It just dropped today, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
And you've had it up your sleeve for quite some time, though.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure we recorded it last Australian winter, like last June. So yeah, it's been kind of kicking around for a while.
So have you basically written another album since then?
No, no.
Is your writing process when it comes to an album, do you need a deadline, or are you kind of writing all the time?
I mean, I'm writing all the time, but I think a deadline helps for the finality and to make decisions to end songs.
What was your approach going into this album? After sometimes I sit and think like that was. I can't imagine having the expectation for what that album did and how much people loved it and how big it got.
Yeah, I just kind of I mean, I feel like I wrote almost in a similar way. I think I spent a whole lot more time kind of sitting at the desk writing, just writing, not really with songs or lyrics in mind, just kind of getting stuff out and kind of editing and going through it.
Sort of picking and choosing lyrics from the stuff later.
Yeah, and it kind of is always different for me, my songwriting.
So you don't necessarily come up with a melody and then find lyrics to put to that, or have an idea for a song in mind and then find the melody. It's kind of pulling from all different places.
Yeah, it's both. It's both things happen at different times, or it's always different.
What was the easiest song on Tell Me How You Really Feel to write? What came together the fastest?
I think Need a Little Time Out. Okay, that kind of I wrote towards the end, and it just came quickly. I was like away for the weekend to see a friend's band and staying in this little caravan, and I was just playing my acoustic guitar, and that song just kind of appeared.
Did you have Need a Little Time Out like in a journal or something where you had already been writing, or had it been on your mind, or is it something that you were strumming and it popped out?
It just popped out.
Are you the type of person who needs a little time out every now and then?
Oh yeah, everyone does.
What was the most difficult song to finish here?
I mean, they were all kind of hard. I guess, there's the last song on the album, Sunday Roast.
I love that song. I was telling you that backstage.
Oh, thanks. That song, I kind of started writing it when I was 13. Wow. So I wrote the guitar part when I was 13. And then I kind of added the last bit of the kind of chorusy thing I added now. But I mean, that's a pretty extreme example of the length of time. It's like 15 years.
What is it like going back to a song that you started when you were 13? I mean, how did you even think to go back to it?
Well, it's kind of, I just have always played it on guitar. It always kind of comes back when I'm sitting down, mucking around, and I guess those songs kind of come back to you for a reason. They leave and then they come back, and I've tried to write lyrics to it before, but it never worked. So maybe this was just the right time for it.
What did it feel like when you finished it? I mean, does it feel like you finished a song when it's finished, or is it just kind of like, okay, we can move on from this now?
Yeah, I think it's hard. Sometimes I think I'm just bad with decision making. So it feels like you could kind of always refine and do something better. But that one I felt like it was time to move on.
And there's a different vibe to that song than I think any of the other songs on the album as well, just in terms of the approach to its sound, right when it starts. Is that something that I'm just noticing, or is that intentional on your guys' part?
I mean, it's such a different energy compared to the rest of the songs. Like it's very kind of melancholy and it's such a different tempo and it kind of I guess it just needed a slightly different approach.
How far along in the songwriting process are you before you step into the studio and start recording?
Probably like I try to get my songs to kind of 95% written, and then I show my band, and then there's always like 1% of lyrics that I'm trying to make better, like 5 minutes before I go in the studio.
Really?
Yeah.
And
It's very stressful.
Is that kind of deadline that you feel like you need?
Um,
Oftentimes people
yeah.
get like a creative rush from just like a little bit more stress added to a situation.
Yeah, I think it probably does work in that way. Maybe sometimes it means that bad lyrics get through. Oh no, maybe not. No, I think it just puts the pressure on.
Did you just say it means that bad lyrics get through,
Get through,
and then
yeah.
cut yourself off?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any like lyrics I regret. So that's
Do you
good.
live in a kind of self-deprecating mindset? Or doubtful sometimes?
Yeah, it's probably there a bit, but I'm trying to kind of
Not talk about it on a stage in front of
well,
people?
not like not talk about it, just like recognize it when I do it, and then be like, what's the point of that? Yeah. It's not really helping you or anyone, or so trying to recognize it and then turn it around.
What was it like? Take me back to when the last album blew up, for lack of a better phrase, for what happened to it. I mean, it's a critical darling. You build this big fan base. I think you toured a lot. You were on all these different talk shows. I think I saw it wasn't a recent video, but a video of you closing out the SNL after party with Carrie Brownstein and performing with her. I mean, what was that short period of time like, where all of a sudden, everything kind of took off? Did it even feel like things were taking off?
I don't know. Yeah, it was. I guess that was the last couple of years, and I think that was a year ago when we did the SNL, and it's just exciting. There's so much. We've traveled around the world and seen all these great things and people and played with great people, and
so it's good.
It's great.
It's great.
Yeah.
You're doing your biggest tour of Australia right now, right? Or you're going to be doing it? Right?
Oh yeah,
Part
later
of
in
this
the year.
tour?
Yeah.
You're playing at the Opera House, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Have you played there before?
I played guitar for someone at the Sydney Opera House in high school.
Can I ask who?
Oh no, it was like a high school thing. Like it was some sort of like school performance thing. Okay. And I played guitar, but I didn't know the song that well, so I kind of turned my guitar down and just kind of did that. And then I was like, I'm never going to play the Sydney Opera House again, so I stole a light bulb as a memento.
Do you still have that light bulb?
No. I don't know where it is.
Are you excited to play the Opera House?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, actually, and then I supported Billy Bragg there a couple of years ago.
Really?
So yeah, but that was like a solo show. So this will be with my full band. So it'll be loud and fun.
What was Billy Bragg like?
Great. Yeah, it was a really really cool tour.
Were you a Bragg fan going into it?
Not like massively. I don't think like I knew a couple of songs, but it was really nice, kind of. I think getting to know the kind of catalog of someone in a situation like that, and it's inspiring seeing just other musicians, I think, and songwriters. It's nice, kind of drawing inspiration from them and how they do stuff.
What were some of your biggest influences?
Like growing up.
Yeah, growing up, and then we'll move into influences on this album. But growing up.
Well, growing up, I guess me and my brother only had like 10 CDs or something that we kind of had on rotation. And he's like 4 years older than me, my brother, so I just listened to whatever he listened to. It was kind of Nirvana and Metallica and Jimi Hendrix and No Doubt and
Tragic Kingdom
yes.
period, No Doubt? Okay,
yeah.
good.
That's the one we had.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it. And then I started getting guitar lessons when I was 10 or so, and my guitar teacher kind of opened me up to this other world of music. Yeah.
What kind of world did your guitar teacher open you up to? Because I've had guitar teachers, and they can open you up to, there's usually two different kinds of worlds where they're big music appreciators, or they're like, this is Eddie Van Halen and Joe Satriani, and they do harmonics.
Yeah.
That's not really what I'm into, but okay.
No, it was pretty just kind of basic. He was like, have you heard the White Album by the Beatles? And I was like,
good guitar
The Who? Yeah, and PJ Harvey and Jeff Buckley at that time.
And then you started writing songs by the time you were 13, because you had Sunday Roast started by then.
Yeah, I think I just started writing songs straight away. Just it was fun.
When did you start recording?
We when we kind of finally got we got our first family computer, and I think we had like one of those little microphones that when
It's like 13, 14-year-old you, like in the family living room with like one of those thin microphones that kind of comes out and like playing into it.
Yeah, it was super cool.
That's
cool kid.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. It was, and I think I had a little tape deck, like those ones that kind of look like the old answering machines, like the big thing, and I would just record stuff on that.
So what were some of your influences going into Tell Me How You Really Feel? Or do you even kind of think about influences when you're going into recording an album?
I definitely kind of found a new love for music around the time I was writing this album, just kind of taking the time to kind of listen to stuff I'd always been meaning to get around to listening to, and when people tell you to listen to something that you never do. I was listening to lots of kind of just piano music.
Oh. Like Chopin?
No, like Chili Gonzalez and Keith Jarrett and Niels Fromm, that kind of stuff, and and then just I can't remember now.
Does if you're listening to stuff like that, a little more improvisational or jazz influence, does that end up affecting or influencing your songwriting? Because one of the things that is so wonderful about your songwriting is the same thing that goes back to someone like, I mean, you said Nirvana, so I think it's okay to reference Kurt Cobain. But is that they are deceptive, whereas they present themselves as simple, but they're actually very layered and smart and well-constructed songs within a kind of structure that feels always simple, and why people gravitate towards it. Does that get affected at all by listening to things that are far more complex in their arrangements?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of, it's nice to kind of, I don't know, the simplicity, there's something really powerful in that simplicity, even if you know how to do more, or yeah. I don't know. Sorry, I lost track of the question.
No, I guess the question is, do you set rules for yourself in terms of what a song can be?
No. I think each time I write a song, I don't quite know what I'm doing in the first place, or where it's going, or where it's going to end. So I think, I definitely don't have any sort of restrictions on myself as well, because it's so limiting, and try to stay open to whatever idea comes, really.
The first song on the album, I love this song. Oh, it's Hopefulness. Yeah, and you open lyrically. You open with kind of a couple cliches and presenting them to the listener. You know, I think you say "they say," and then it's what are the two phrases that you throw out immediately? Take your life and turn it into art.
Oh yeah, take your broken heart. Turn it into art.
I don't bring notes to the stage,
No,
so
that's
bear with.
really impressive.
And then the other one is something great too. What made you want to open the album with this song that opens with these sort of two kind of, I think, heart cliches that people tell you when you are hurt and broken that rarely help?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the other one. You know, they say, oh, no one's, yeah.
Do you know what do you remember what the other one
no
is?
one's born to hate. We've learned it somewhere along the way.
Which is something that people say all the time, and you still want to go, I don't care, fuck them.
Yeah. I always thought it was going to be the album closer, actually, that song. So it wasn't kind of until the last minute I switched it around to the start. I kind of like that because I ended it, the Sunday Roast song, even though it is kind of melancholy, it has like a touch of kind of optimism to it. And it's kind of about family and friends and community and kind of coming together. So that felt like a nicer note to end on. Hopefulness, on the other hand, is kind of pretty. I guess it's pretty. Yeah, I mean, it's the struggle between the trying to be hopeful and feeling hopeless, and everything that kind of. Everything that comes with that. So yeah, it's pretty. It starts pretty lower.
It starts with the things that people tell you when you're feeling hopeless to try to make you feel hopeful.
Yeah.
Let's get some questions from our audience. Who has a question?
I got
Hi.
one.
Either one. Go ahead. You right here.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Michelle wants to know what is your favorite place to tour?
I kind of, I'd never left Australia until I started touring. So I've really enjoyed going everywhere, which is a bit of a cop-out of an answer. But I drove through Arizona the other day, like kind of, and it's beautiful out there. And I've spent time out in like around Joshua Tree, and I love that kind of area.
Obvious question that I, for whatever reason, didn't ask before, but tell me how you really feel. Why did you name the album that?
Well, it's one line in one of the songs, and
I love how it's said in the song as well. It's sort of presented with this kind of high-pitched, almost like a kid is saying it to someone.
Yeah, that's Kim and Kelly Deal from The Breeders.
Oh, really?
Sing that line, yeah. Yeah, it's like perfectly executed. Yeah, I would normally never kind of not like I wouldn't normally like to double up the lyric and as a title, but it seems so perfect to me. It just it's so kind of open-ended, that line. Like, it's not really a question. I just like that it kind of keeps it open to interpretation, and people either, whatever their first impression of it is, like if they think it's sarcastic or if they think it's earnest, or I think it says a lot about them as well. So I find that kind of interesting how it opens it up to many things.
It'd be weird to make an assumption that you were being sarcastic or earnest, because your music or lyrically, you're always walking a fine line between sarcasm and earnestness, I think.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. When you're being earnest, you're sometimes sarcastic about how earnest you're feeling, and then when you're sarcastic, you're earnestly sorrowful about how sarcastic you are.
Yeah, aren't we so confusing, humans? Yeah, I mean, it's like I guess it's a natural kind of defense mechanism. When we feel like we're being too vulnerable, we try to make a joke about something.
What was it like getting the Deal sisters to sing?
It was great. I dropped in to see them when they were making their new album, and they needed like a group chorus sung. So we did this line on their new album, and then and they wanted to repay the favor. Yeah.
And did you have them in mind when you wrote the lyric?
I didn't, but when it came around to the studio time, I'd kind of left that line out. Like I hadn't mentioned it yet because I didn't know if it was a little bit too silly, how it was what I kind of had in my head. But then, I kind of couldn't let it go, so I sent it to them, and they kind of did it exactly how I heard it in my head. So I thought it was kind of meant to be if it was so right.
Did you present it to them in the way that you thought it might have been too silly, or did you just say, "Please sing it"?
Well, it was kind of via email, so it was like in this part of the song, so yeah.
One more question right here.
Hi. I was curious. In our current music culture worldwide, we're really obsessed with rap, hip hop, that kind of genre, and rock has kind of turned into like an underground movement. Do you feel like it's freeing, or you feel like you have to work harder to reach more people?
I don't know. I've not felt like it's kind of underground. I think I just think music is it's so beautiful how it just goes around in circles, and different things are popular at different times. I've never really paid too much attention. I just kind of make the music that I kind of enjoy making and enjoy listening to.
Were you surprised to find out that a lot of other people really enjoy listening to your music as well?
Yeah. It's great to know that that other people find it interesting.
Well, I love it. I love the last album. I love the new album. Congratulations. It's out today. People can get it on iTunes and Amazon, and they can listen to it on Spotify. And you are currently on tour across the country. You're going to be at the Williamsburg Music Hall tomorrow night for a sold-out show. Sorry, everybody who doesn't have a ticket yet. And you're going to be in Europe, I think you said next month? Or
Yeah, I think maybe next week.
Oh, next week,
Yeah.
not next month. Next
Yeah.
week, for a month.
Yeah, for a month.
That's what it was, for a month. And then after that, back in Australia for some shows, right?
Yeah, and then back here later in the year.
So anyone everywhere, you will get a chance to see Courtney Barnett at some point, it sounds like.
Yes.
The album is called Tell Me How You Really Feel. Everybody, please give Courtney Barnett a big round of applause. Let's hear it.